Do you wake up with the invisible weight of others' expectations crushing your chest? Do you feel that each day is a performance where you need to be the unshakable pillar, the cool strategist, the tireless provider, but inside the echo of loneliness resonates? This armor you forged for the world might be suffocating you. What if true strength, the kind that truly matters, wasn't in the perfection of your facade, but in the mastery of your inner universe? There was a time when I believed that masculinity was an impenetrable fortress, built of silence and control. I convinced myself that showing any fissure in that wall would be a sign of fatal weakness. I lived for years by the unwritten manual of what a man should be. I collected invisible emotional scars, trying to fit into a mold that was never mine. I sought validation in every glance, in every achievement, but the mirror returned an exhausted and distant reflection. It was in this labyrinth that I found an ancient map, born from Stoic wisdom. It wasn't a map to gold, but to inner freedom. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who governed the greatest empire of his time, wrote in his Meditations, "The soul of man dishonors itself when it becomes an ulcer and, as it were, a tumor of the universe." Those words struck me like lightning. I realized that my pursuit of a superficial masculinity based on appearances and external control didn't make me a tumor of the universe, but a tumor to myself, eroding my authenticity and my peace. The problem we face today is that we have been conditioned to confuse strength with rigidity, control with domination, and success with others' approval. This distortion traps us in a golden cage of societal expectations, preventing us from building a life of real meaning and true connections. But there is a way to dismantle this cage, a path to a strength that doesn't bend to external storms, because it is forged in the fire of internal self-discipline. In this video, I will unveil the 5 pillars of Stoic strength, a guide to redefining what it means to be a truly strong, authentic, and emotionally sovereign man. These pillars are not meant to turn you into a statue, but to give you the flexibility and resilience of an oak tree. If you're ready to build your unshakable fortress, comment "in oak" below. Have you ever found yourself in a whirlwind of frustration over things you simply cannot change? The hellish traffic, an inflexible colleague's opinion, life's unexpected twist. What if I told you that the key to your peace lies in releasing the reins of what was never yours to control? Most men, without realizing it, spend a colossal amount of energy rowing against the current of the uncontrollable. You exhaust yourself trying to manipulate outcomes, persuade those unwilling to be persuaded, or become deeply irritated by events entirely beyond your reach. Imagine trying to hold ocean water in your hands. That is the image of your daily struggle to control what cannot be controlled. You take responsibility for every failure, every disappointment, no matter its origin. You carry the heavy burden of guilt and anxiety, believing that your strength lies in dominating the world around you. This belief is a trap, draining your vitality and leaving you exhausted. Epictetus, the former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic masters, bequeathed to us a timeless truth in his Enchiridion: some things are in our control and others are not. In our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. not in our control, our body, property, reputation, command, and, in a word, whatever are not our own actions. Epictetus, who lived in a society where his body and freedom were controlled by others, found supreme freedom in his mind. He teaches us that true strength lies not in shaping the world, but in shaping oneself in the face of the world. His life is a testament that, even in the most adverse circumstances, the sovereignty of the mind remains untouched. To begin applying the dichotomy of control today, practice the discernment journal. At the end of each day, or whenever you feel a wave of frustration, grab a notebook and divide a page into 2 columns: what I controlled and what I didn't control. In the first column, note your reactions, your choices, your words. In the second, note external events, the actions of other people, unexpected outcomes. For example, if you were irritated by a colleague's work delay, in the didn't control column, write colleague's delay. In the controlled column, write my reaction of irritation, my choice of how to communicate the deadline. The goal is to train your mind to redirect energy. Instead of fighting the rain, learn to dance in it, or use an umbrella. Direct your focus to your actions, your attitudes, your preparation. This is not passivity. It is strategy. It is using your strength where it can truly make a difference. By mastering the art of discerning where your true influence lies, you will free yourself from an invisible burden. Anxiety will dissipate like morning fog. Your energy, once scattered in useless battles, will be channeled into building the life you desire, brick by brick. You will become a beacon of serenity, unshakable amidst life's tides, because your peace will no longer depend on the whims of the world, but on your unshakable inner fortress. Now, the next pillar will challenge the idea that a strong man is one who feels nothing, revealing that true mastery lies in feeling everything, but being a slave to nothing. Were you taught to hide your inner storms under a forced blue sky? To swallow anger, disguise sadness, ignore fear, believing that this is a sign of control? What if true strength resided in feeling every drop of emotional rain, yet being the master of your own boat? Many men carry an arsenal of repressed emotions, like a dormant volcano. You learned that expressing sadness is weakness, that fear is cowardice, and that anger is unacceptable. So you hide them under layers of indifference, sarcasm, or a false calm. This suppression doesn't make emotions disappear. They transform into a slow poison, corroding your mental health, exploding at inopportune moments, or creating an invisible barrier in your relationships. You become a stranger to yourself, unable to decipher the signals of your own body and mind, living in a constant state of alertness, fearing that your weakness will be exposed. Seneca, the advisor to emperors and one of the most eloquent Stoics, in his letters to Lucilius, did not preach the absence of emotions, but the wisdom in dealing with them. It is not poverty that causes sorrow, but covetousness. Similarly, it is not the emotion itself that harms us, but the irrational attachment to it, the way we allow it to dominate us and divert us from reason. The Stoics sought apatheia, but not in the sense of apathy, but rather freedom from irrational passions, those that drag us into suffering. They teach us to observe our emotions as a scientist observes a natural phenomenon, with curiosity, without judgment, to understand their origin and purpose, and then decide how to respond. To begin mastering your emotions today, practice the reflective pause. When an intense emotion arises, be it anger, frustration, sadness, or anxiety, instead of reacting impulsively or repressing it, take a conscious pause. Breathe deeply 3 times. Feel the emotion in your body. Where does it manifest? Is it a tightness in your chest, a lump in your throat, a heat in your head? Give it a name. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What is its underlying message? For example, if anger arises because someone interrupted you, the message might be, I feel disrespected and my voice isn't being heard. Once you identify the message, you can choose a rational and constructive response. Instead of exploding, you can calmly say, I'd like to finish my thought, please. This practice transforms emotion from an enemy into a messenger, allowing you to respond to life with wisdom, not impulsivity. When you master this alchemy of emotions, you will no longer be a leaf carried by the wind of your own mind. You will become a man of depth, capable of fully feeling life's nuances, but with the compass of reason always in your hands. Your serenity will be a silent force, and your responses a reflection of your inner wisdom, not of your momentary passions. Write in the comments, I am the master of my emotional universe. This leads us to a pillar that challenges the very foundation of conventional masculinity, the courage to tear down your own walls. Do you believe that invulnerability is a man's greatest virtue? That showing any crack in your facade is an invitation to weakness? What if true courage wasn't in hiding your wounds, but in exposing them with dignity? From a very young age, we were programmed to wear steel armor, displaying an image of everything is always fine and I can handle anything. You avoid asking for help even when you're at your limit. You fear sharing your deepest fears or admitting a mistake out of panic of being perceived as weak, incapable, or less of a man. This facade of invulnerability is a suffocating weight. It isolates you in a tower of solitude, preventing the formation of genuine and intimate connections, because no one can connect with a perfect and unattainable image. You burden yourself with sustaining an unreal performance, and your soul yearns to breathe the truth. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, offers us a perspective on integrity that embraces the totality of being. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Stoic vulnerability is not an uncontrolled outburst, but a conscious act of accepting your human condition with its imperfections and challenges. It is the courage to be honest with yourself and, selectively, with those who deserve your trust. It is the virtue of sincerity and self-awareness, recognizing that the only validation that truly matters is your own. To begin building the armor of authenticity today, practice selective sharing. It's not about dumping your problems on just anyone, but about choosing 1 or 2 trustworthy people in your life, a friend, a mentor, a partner, and practicing small acts of vulnerability with them. Instead of answering, everything's fine when it's not, try saying, today I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed with X, or I'm struggling with Y, and I'm not sure how to handle it. Admit a trivial mistake you made at work or home, without excuses, just the simple admission. Ask for help with a task where you genuinely need support, recognizing that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom and self-knowledge. The goal is to decondition the mind from the fear of judgment and experience the lightness of being who you truly are. When you embrace authentic vulnerability, you will tear down the walls that isolate you and build bridges to deeper and more meaningful connections. You will feel lighter, freer, and, paradoxically, stronger, because your strength will not come from a performance, but from the unshakable truth of your being. You will be a man who inspires trust not by his perfection, but by his humanity. If this idea resonates, comment truth below. This pillar of authenticity leads us directly to the next, for true strength manifests not only in who you are alone, but in how you connect with the world around you. Do you seek to dominate or manipulate in your relationships, believing that this is what it means to be the strong man? Or do you yearn for genuine connections, where mutual respect and honesty are the true foundations? Many men, due to insecurity or misguided social models, enter their relationships with a power play mentality. You may have been taught that to be the man in a relationship, you need to exert control, be the dominant alpha, or use silence as a weapon to punish or manipulate. You try to mold your partner or friend to your expectations, or you close up like a hedgehog when things get difficult, avoiding honest conversations and constructive confrontations. This toxic approach, based on ego and fear, destroys trust, prevents the building of true bonds, and leads to a cycle of resentment, loneliness, and frustration for all parties involved. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, bequeathed to us a profound vision of human interconnectedness in his Meditations. What is not good for the beehive is not good for the bee. For the Stoics, we are intrinsically social beings, and our full virtue can only be achieved in community. Oikiosis, or the doctrine of affinity, teaches us to extend our circle of concern to others, to see the well-being of our neighbor as part of our own. In relationships, this translates into mutual respect, justice, empathy, and shared benefit. It's not about ego, but about ecosystem. Stoic strength in relationships is not about dominating, but about contributing to mutual flourishing. To begin building Stoic relationships today, practice radically honest and respectful communication. Instead of assuming what the other person thinks or feels, ask with genuine curiosity. Instead of using silence as punishment, express your feelings and needs calmly, clearly, and assertively, focusing on I statements. I feel, when, and I need. For example, if you feel neglected, instead of shutting down or making accusations, say, I've been feeling a bit distant lately, and I need more quality time for us to feel connected. Establish healthy boundaries for yourself and the other person, focusing on self-control of your reactions and clarity of your intentions. The goal is not to win an argument, but to find a solution that honors both dignities and strengthens the bond. Cultivate active listening, paying attention not only to the words, but to the emotion behind them, without interrupting or judging. When you apply Stoic principles in your relationships, you will build indestructible bridges of trust. You will cultivate authentic, deep, and lasting connections based on equality, respect, and mutual growth. You will become a truly valued partner, friend, or leader whose presence is a safe harbor, not a source of tension. But here's what almost no one understands about true fulfillment, something that goes far beyond appearances. Do you obsessively chase external metrics of success? The luxury car, the position of power, incessant social media approval, believing that they define your worth as a man. What if true fulfillment wasn't in what you display, but in what you cultivate within? From an early age, we are bombarded with the image that a successful man is one who accumulates possessions, power, and status. You may have spent years of your life climbing mountains that others built for you, seeking external validation in every professional achievement, in every object of desire. And when you finally reach the top, or when the ascent slows, a sense of emptiness and disillusionment sets in. The promised happiness doesn't arrive, or it's ephemeral, because your worth as a man was tied to something that can be taken away at any moment. This incessant pursuit of appearances prevents you from finding deep and lasting meaning, leaving a trail of exhaustion and a persistent question: is this all there is? Epictetus, in his discourses, challenges us to look beyond superficialities. The important thing is not what others think of us, but what we really are. For the Stoics, true honor and purpose do not reside in wealth, power, fame, or beauty, which are indifferents, neither good nor bad in themselves, but can be used for good or for ill. True honor lies in living according to reason and virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. The Stoic purpose is to act with moral excellence, contribute to the common good, and cultivate one's character, regardless of external rewards. It is a silent legacy built day by day that no one can steal from you. To begin aligning your life with a Stoic purpose today, practice internal values meditation. Regularly set aside time to ask yourself, are my daily actions aligned with my deepest values? Honesty, courage, justice, wisdom, contribution. Instead of defining your success by what you will have or possess, define it by what you will be and do. For example, if your value is contribution, instead of just seeking a higher salary, look for ways to use your skills to serve your community, mentor someone, or create something that benefits other people, even on a small scale. If your value is honesty, commit to speaking the truth, even when it's difficult, and to acting with integrity in all your interactions. With every decision, ask, does this reflect the man I want to be, or the man society expects me to be? When you align your life with a purpose guided by internal values, you will find an inexhaustible source of meaning, resilience, and satisfaction. Your strength will no longer depend on the ephemeral applause of the world, but on the deep peace that comes from living an authentic, virtuous life with an unshakable legacy of character. You will be a man who not only lives, but truly thrives from the inside out. Like if you're ready to build your inner legacy. Recapitulating our journey, we learned that true strength does not reside in the external control of a chaotic world, but in the unquestionable sovereignty of your mind over itself. We discovered that mastery is not in suppressing the ocean of your emotions, but in feeling them fully and navigating their currents with wisdom. We saw that courage does not hide behind an impenetrable armor, but reveals itself in vulnerable authenticity that builds bridges. We understood that true relationships are not battlegrounds for the ego, but gardens of mutual growth cultivated with respect and honesty. And finally, we realized that a man's lasting legacy is not measured by appearances or possessions, but by an unshakable purpose guided by internal values. You are no longer the man who bowed to empty expectations, a puppet of external approvals. You are no longer the man who feared his own emotions, chained by unprocessed fears and angers. The person you are becoming, with each step of this Stoic journey, is a man of depth and substance, a man guided by wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, a man who fears neither himself nor the storms of the world, because his fortress resides in his unshakable character. If this video has ignited a flame of new perspective in you, please leave your like. Comment below which of these 5 pillars you will start applying in your life today, and share a small step you will take. Your journey inspires all of us. Share this video with another man who urgently needs to hear this message of genuine strength. And subscribe to the channel to continue your journey of Stoic transformation with us. Remember, true strength is not the absence of challenges, but the invincibility of your soul forged in the furnace of virtue.